All right, everybody. Hello and welcome. You are here for How to Land a Job in 2025. My name is Albert. I am the founder of Albert's List, and I will be your host today for this webinar. As you know, we are now 5 months into the year, and this is a regular webinar that we do to not only promote the many resources that we have, but to also give either some inspiration or a refresher towards your ongoing job search. If you were here in March, if you were here in January or February, a lot of the content remains the same, but if you do realize that you need a opportunity to just take a step back, reset, or use this net event as a networking event, then this is all good for you. And before we start, I'm also going to go ahead and just share the results of the poll. Um, we ask about the state of the economy every time. 52% of you felt that it was a negative, you're feeling negative. 41% of you feel that you're neutral about the situation, and 7% of you are positive about the job market. And this is about right for where things have been. Um, I really do hope we get back to a day where people feel positive about the market and we can have something that's flipped. So, yeah. So before I get started, a little bit about me. My name is Albert. I am the founder of Albert's List. I'm a marketing manager by day and a job search entrepreneur, and have run Albert's List for the last 12 years here. And we have a community of 50,500 members on Facebook. You can either type in bit.ly/ find your next job into the chat or point your phone at the QR code and it should lead you to the Facebook group. Let me know that you found us here and I will get you and make sure that you are added. So, what are we at here for our agenda, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about the state of the job market. We're going to go through and understand the state of the predictions that we've made all the way back in January and look at where we're at. Then we're going to go through some job search tips and tricks, and these have, for the most part, remained where they are, but sometimes you need a reminder. And the stakes of the games have also changed a little bit. And then we're going to go through what it is that you need to do to take action and some things that you can do in the next couple of weeks that can significantly enrich what it is that you're doing. So here's the QR code for my About Me. Feel free to take a screenshot, take a photo, etc. If you need to go and connect with me here or connect with the group. And then we'll have some Q&A at the end with time permitting. So one of our goals for today's webinar is to provide a 50,000-foot view for the job market and then zoom in and really find ways to help you. I want to leave you empowered to embark on your job search or go back to your job search, depending on where you are, and then give you the resources to move forward with hope so that you can fill your calendar with events that keep you busy and keep you present to your job search instead of looking into the doom loop that is a potential of not being able to find that job. So that's what I want to focus on today so that everyone can feel like they're in the best mindset possible. If that's something that you're looking forward to experiencing, type yes in the webinar chat and we'll get going. Awesome. Love it. Thanks, Yogi. Thanks, Danya, Alex, Jeanette, Manpreet, Javad, Lana. Awesome. So let's go into the state of the job market because one of the things that I always feel when it comes to speaking about the job market and talking about why we're talking about what we're talking about is to understand where we're going, you have to understand where you've been. And it's been a very tumultuous and active first 5 months, first four and a half months of this year so far. And so there's been a lot that's been going on, and we're going to start and we're going to continue with tech layoffs, right? Many of you are in the tech community, and as you know, layoffs have been the standard for the past couple of years. And thankfully, coming into April, they have slowed down. I think a lot of companies that have been laying off have stopped laying off because there's no one left to lay off. It's people to manage AI, cutting middle management, and then at this point, also outsourcing jobs to elsewhere. But mostly these layoffs have come to a halt. If you compare to where we were even last April and even going back to last January, it's been pretty, it's been being pretty done at a breakneck pace. But thankfully, it's slowed down in recent months. And I think companies have also moved on from their pandemic overhiring. At least that's what it claims to be. One thing that's on the top of mind for a lot of people over the last couple of months is tariffs. And so while we're currently in a trade pause or a tariff pause where President Trump has either gone back on his tariffs or has paused the enacting of them, a 10% tariff, I believe, across the board still exists for a lot of companies. And you may be asking and saying, Albert, what do tariffs have to do with me? I work a software job. I work an administrative assistant job. I work a product management job. I'm looking to work at a nonprofit, etc. And the truth of the matter is that tariffs and trade in general make the world go round, and also make sure that companies want to invest because, I take the view that tariffs are a tax on the consumer because the cost to import goods goes up, and when the cost of goods go up, inflation also goes up. And inflation is inextricably tied to employment because the higher inflation goes, the more it forces the Fed to raise interest rates because high inflation is not good and is a damper on demand. And so high interest rates are meant to quell demand, which in turn lowers inflation and creates more of a better investment environment in the long term. And what does that investment mean? That investment in this case means employers interested in hiring. When money is cheap, employers are interested in hiring because they look to expand their ranks and they look to expand their investments in technologies and innovations. And on the other hand, when it's not that way, they look to pull back. So lower tariffs and lower interest rates and lower inflation are all good for workers such as you and I because it means that employers are more happy to hire. And so this is all just a roundabout saying of tariffs do impact your job search in any situation because it impacts the entire market at large. Everything is somewhat inextricably connected, and when people can't spend money, when people can't donate money, and when you have the case of nonprofits, then everything has the chance of going south. And so the taking back of tariffs has actually been a really good thing, as we saw over the last month and a half or so. When President Trump announced Liberation Day on April the 2nd, the stock market responded by gyrating wildly and dropping almost several thousand, a couple hundred to 1,000 points, depending on what you're pegging it to, in terms of the Dow Jones Industrial Average or the S&P 500. With the callback of these tariffs and the making of trade deals, however you want to call it, the S&P 500 has now regained all of its losses that it had cut since the beginning of President Trump's inauguration back on January 20th. Now, does this mean that the going back to zero means that we're at a reset? Yes and no. The interest rates still remain high. The Federal Reserve has kept rates steady, and inflation has thankfully gone down to 2.3%. Now, does the long-term effect of interest rates mean of tariffs mean that we may be seeing inflation in the future? It is difficult to say, but is nonetheless something to watch. And so what did we see in the last jobs report? We saw that monthly jobs went up 177,000. Jobs have been trending downwards since the end of the pandemic, which, means that we are in sort of a slowing down pattern. Unemployment, however, remains at a record low of 4.2%. And if you're in the areas of education and health, which is always hot, transportation and warehousing or leisure and hospitality, those areas have always continued to grow. For those most of us who are here, we are in the information sector, which remains flat overall. Unfortunately, jobs are being added and removed all at the same time. And so we're really just seeing the information recession continue, which is why, even though you see that hundreds of thousands of jobs may be added per month, that your job search may still stink because overall information is adding nothing. If you're a consultant, if you're a contractor, you're doing a little bit better with professional and business services, adding 17,000 jobs last month. Average hourly pay has also grown significantly. It's slowed down a little bit, but it's still growing by an average of 3.8% a year. So if you made a job change last month, you are outpacing inflation, which grew by 2.3% last month, by about 1.5%, which means you are getting ahead. One of the other things that also matters at this time is AI. So, one of the things that's top of mind for many companies is artificial intelligence, generative AI, and its possibilities to doing everything from creating content and writing to developing graphics to automating processes and so forth. And I found this one to be very interesting that the other day there was a survey that was done of, I believe, 1,000 companies or so or maybe it was 100 companies. I got to go back and look at it. But the headline stood out to me because it said that 55% of leaders regret AI layoffs. And so this was interesting because I look at AI as very needed and very important, but I also see a lot of the messaging around AI as a lot of arrogance. Klarna is a key one here, right? They're a fintech company out of Scandinavia. And recently, as of last year, actually, they had announced that they were no longer hiring people. People were no longer needed because AI had automated all of their tasks. And lo and behold, the other day, the CEO has pivoted his talk. They are now hiring people again for certain things because they realize that people actually want to talk to people when it comes to customer service. And so this is a company that is jumping off the all in on AI ledge and hiring people again. But, as somebody who looks at the hiring market, I also realize that it's important to understand what kind of culture you want to go to. Klarna is not a company that I would want to work for because the moment that they realize that AI could replace a person again, they're probably going to go ahead and lay you off and then showboat about it to the press. And so, should you go work for them? Probably not. Let me know what you think in the webinar chat, whether you would want to go work for a company that has regret AI layoffs. I would love to know. We're also seeing federal workers being laid off, as many of you know here in the United States. We have a government that is looking to cut costs, at least tell us that it's cutting costs and so forth, and looking to get rid of employees. And I couldn't find myself a latest information graphic about who's been laid off so far, but cuts have been widespread and everywhere, from the Internal Revenue Service to the three-letter agencies to Homeland Security and so forth. And it's been unfortunate because some people didn't vote for this, but this is unfortunately what is happening. And whether we actually save money in the long run by cutting these volume of workers remains to be seen. Consumer price index, I also mentioned this. So inflation is down. We are now down to 2.3% from a high of about 9% in mid 2022. And so it doesn't mean that things are necessarily cheaper. It just means that things are getting expensive at a much slower rate. Because if you add all of these numbers going back to 2021, you're probably looking at things being 80 to 90 to 100% more expensive than they usually are. So things are just getting expensive slower, and so it doesn't bode well for the everyday consumer, even though it does mean that things are still expensive. They're just getting more expensive slower. With all the things in the tariff talk and all of this stuff, we're also seeing different interpretations of where the GDP might be. So in Q1 of 2025, GDP contracted because we had more imports than exports as organizations and companies sought to prepare themselves for the impact of tariffs. And so as of right now, we're looking at a potential GDP drop for the year. GDP, as you know, is the sum total of of everything that that a country is doing, from investment to consumer spending, which is the leading aspect of our GDP here in the United States of America. And so, who knows where everything's going to be here? We're going to see a second GDP rating sometime later this month, and that one may have tariffs factored into it a little bit more. So forward forecasts, in the past couple of months, I've been seeing that it's not good. I've upgraded it to saying that it's all wait and see at this point. The first 4 months of Trump's presidency have been a lot of policy changes. Tariffs, federal government layoffs, and AI all continue to bring significant downward pressure, and the changing of policies continue to also be disruptive as well. And yes, this webinar is being recorded. It'll be on YouTube in the next couple of hours to days. Markets have rebounded from these tariff pauses, but it doesn't mean that hiring is back yet because these tariffs were only suspended for 90 days or so. And so we're going to come back in the summer and see where we are with things. Hopefully, the messaging is a little bit different, but we will see. Lower inflation at 2.3% is also a really great thing, but the forward impact still looms, right? All of these things with tariffs and government cuts and continued layoffs, these are all lagging indicators, which means that you don't actually see if things will hurt until a few months later. AI also still remains an interesting area. It continues to grow. Companies pour a ton of money into it, but the broader information recession continues. More people are doing more with less. You have people who are doing 2 to 3 jobs at once, and it's definitely a lag on companies, but they are trying to make do with what they can, and they're going to try and put technology in the middle to see what happens. So it's really difficult at the end of the day to say how the rest of the year is going to go. Um, I don't have great news, but if you are an experienced professional, it's probably likely better for you than if you are a new graduate because companies are looking to bring on people who have proof of proof of concept in their career so far, where they can take a pass and they can see if it will work in the future. So if your job search has been a struggle, it's definitely not you, but we're going to talk about ways around it. And then the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to talk a little bit about the 2025 predictions and where we stand. The high level, as I said back in January, was that political wins do matter here, but I'm going to aim to not get political. If I say something that offends you, it's not something I meant to say. If I say something that you disagree politically, it is okay. You can feel free to yell at me in the webinar chat and we can have our disagreement. One of the points that I made back in January was that change takes a while to happen and will show up when you least expect. And I have that crossed out because we have seen a flurry of executive orders, policies, investments, and everything so forth since the beginning of this presidency. So change has happened quicker, and so that's not necessarily as true. Some things will remain the same, but the fundamentals are key. I also said that in January and so I maybe half-heartedly believe this because I do believe that some of the fundamentals are the same, but we're also seeing some things that are changing, such as government layoffs, transitions from industries, and so forth. And so much of these industries are also trends are also US based, but they are going to apply to you internationally because somehow with the United States, there is always a downstream impact. And so here are some of the predictions that I've made from the year so far. Tech jobs make a comeback. I said this because a lot of tech companies and leaders have cozied up to President Trump. This hasn't quite happened yet. I don't think the tech boom can be considered here. It may be coming back in a certain different way with new technologies and venture capital funding, so we'll see. Industry shifts reflect new priorities. This is definitely happening with cryptocurrency and AI. Green technology is sort of taking a back seat, especially as you see with the Department of Energy ending the Energy Star program as just one of many examples. Regulations are being loosened around AI, leading to growth. The leading to growth piece is definitely happening, and regulations are being loosened as we speak. So, the Republican Party is proposing as a part of their budget a 10-year ban on AI regulations. And agentic AI is also the newest hot term for 2025. So, if you are in the United States and proposing a 10-year ban on regulating AI and its potential harms to us is concerning to you, give your congressman or senator a call. It is something that concerns me and something that I think I may end up actually making a call on. Number four is that localism reigns supreme as tariffs upend markets. This is happening for sure. We've discussed it. And also, state government jobs become more competitive as the federal apparatus shrinks. This is also happening as well as different three-letter and four-letter agencies see their staff cut, even amid even amid injunctions and stops from various federal judges. The other side of it, labor issues favor companies led by tax cuts and working reforms. I would say that this is in progress. We've seen the revocation of executive orders focused on employment rights due to a backlash on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Uh, Congress is also working on budgets to cut significant programs like Medicaid ahead of a tax cut. This is in hopes that perhaps people who are the richest will somehow invest back into this country and create more jobs. And so that is a kind of a we'll see kind of moment. The immigration debate finds a voice as reform takes center stage. I put this as a question mark because I think most of the immigration debate has focused on undocumented immigrants. H-1B, I haven't heard as much of, even though I know we're in the middle of giving out H-1B visas for highly technical workers. Strategic roles take precedence as commoditized jobs fall to AI and high costs. This is especially true in Silicon Valley. I think over the last couple of months, what I've seen in the news is that a lot of companies are taking their jobs that are general and administrative to lower cost areas like Mexico and Eastern Europe. So if you're in the Bay Area, if you're in a major city where it's expensive to live, becoming a strategic thinker is going to be an incredibly important part of your asset as you look for a job. If you're somebody who is just literally pouring through spreadsheets or writing content or being an accountant and looking through software, then it's probably not going to be a job that ends up staying in the city in a rich area. If you're at a smaller company, though, this may be different. And then finally, companies continue to search for their unicorn employee amid an employees market. This is absolutely happening. You have many hundreds of employees or candidates per opening. And so standing out and finding ways to stand out and being first to job openings is incredibly important. So we're going to talk a little bit in our next section about what changes in the job market. A lot of things have obviously evolved with the job market. And to understand what's ahead, these are some of the things that I've been saying over the last couple of months, that it's the toughest job market since 2008 and maybe becoming more difficult. Competition is fierce. Some industries will fare better than others, and it's important to look for opportunities in unlikely places. If you're finding yourself at a chance to transition careers from one job to another, then I definitely think there's something in that area. And so if you're also looking to get creative with what you do, whether they're working as a brand ambassador, whether it's networking at a conference that you're getting paid for, which Albert's List sends opportunities from time to time, that's also a possibility too. Interest rates are staying flat while inflation falls in the near term. So it's really hard to say whether we're going to see more jobs. But my hope is that we will, and that's going to be an interesting outcome for what comes next. So what are some of the steps, right? I think there are about 11 of these steps that we're going to walk through the next few minutes. And this first one is to understand that the strategies have changed. You need to know AI, you need to be first to a job, and you need to be out there building relationships and networking. Leverage the relationships that you have built in the past, build relationships for the future, and really use those relationships to get the connections and understand that people hire other people. And since we do have a webinar chat that is activated for today's webinar, I'm hoping that all of you use it to network and uh, paste your LinkedIn's, put down your location, message each other once you've added each other on LinkedIn, and uh, holding each other accountable or being a support system to one another. Because ultimately, it is a struggle, but know that it will also improve. So, like what Elise just did here, put down your LinkedIn profile, let us know where you're dialing in from today, and make the most of the next 31 minutes that we have here together. When it comes to networking, it's important to filter to what you want. Even if you meet people here today, you also want to figure out that you're meeting the right people that are focused, right? So you want to be able to look for people who have commonalities like mutual connections, alumni, or even communities like this with Albert's List. There are a lot of us here. There are 50,500 people in our community, and there's always a chance to meet new people every single day and have an opportunity to be introduced. Step number two is to invest in yourself. There's obviously a lot that's going on at this moment, and when you're not in a job or when you're looking for that job, Creation and creativity is one of the most important pieces because you are creating a new version of yourself. And AI makes it more possible than ever to create something and have it launched quickly. So whether it's investing in education, creating a mini startup for yourself, or being a consultant, it's an opportunity to be in the right place and also to network in the right communities. Step number three is to build your personal brand. So go where your audience is, write down insights, network and meet people strategically. Transitioning may be difficult, but if you're in the right place and in the right space, then you can meet a lot of people that are relevant to you. I spent a lot of time in my early career talking to people that I didn't necessarily need to talk to, and that cost me a lot of time. Now that I know that I'm a marketer and I work in tech, I try to be very, very specific about where I spend my time. But of course, I'm also open to meeting at just about everyone because I also help job seekers. Step number four is to go on offense with your search. I know this may be taboo in some circles, but turning that open to work circle on your LinkedIn is incredibly important to do because it tells people that you are looking. It's also important to look for the job search sites that best fit you. And like we've been saying in the last few slides, opportunities can come from unlikely places. Find an accountability partner as well, and you'll be set because at least you'll have someone to check in with. Job searching, as you know, can be very, very isolating. You're sitting in front of your computer all day, waiting for your phone to ring. And so you need to find every way you can to not job search alone. I'm glad that people here are in the webinar on networking. And Brian here is searching for a revenue accountant. Okay, he's searching for revenue accountant, senior accountant roles locally and remote. Fantastic. And we got people from Central Florida all the way to the West Coast and everywhere in between. So please take advantage of this webinar chat, meet each other, come to all of our webinars. We have multiple webinars per week, and they are all chances to talk to people as well as learn new things. All right. Step number five is to tell the story that you want heard. You want to build a resume that showcases your history, and you want to use AI to build an interviewing answer bank or evaluate your resume against job descriptions. And we have an opportunity for you to learn that later. I'm co-hosting a webinar later this month on how to use ChatGPT to master your job interview, and I want all of you to join me for that. Number four is to be consistent. And then it's also to practice with AI as well to get your story down and with live people. That way, at least you know that you're saying the right things and that it's helping you stand out. And so, one of the things that you can do as you build your brand is to build your resume. This is a copy of my resume. My email is up there. So if you do want to message me for this resume, I'm happy to send it to you. This resume has gotten me at least 30 offers over the last 4 or 5 job searches going back 10 years. And so I want you to have it because if it helps me, it can definitely help you too. Step number six is to interview with confidence. And so interviewing might be the most important part of the job search today because it is rare to get an interview given how difficult the job market is. And so how do you master the interview process? You have to understand what's at stake, and we're going to talk about that on the next graphic here. You have to know where you create risk and mitigate that risk, and know where you create excitement and build upon that momentum so that people who are interviewing you can see you as the best candidate possible. Like we said with AI, you have to be familiar with your stories. You have to know what you've done and know your impact. And you have to understand and share your secret sauce. So when it comes to knowing what's at stake, this is an important piece too, because a lot of us are interviewing for ourselves. And so this is in itself a sub presentation that I've made over the last couple of years that is separate to this. I haven't given it a while, but the basics of it is that when it goes to looking for a job, you are at the center, and everything that you touch within your new job as a prospect is what's at stake for you. You're connected to your customers, which can be internal or external. And these are all individuals who either buy from you or take services from you. And they all have something at stake when it comes to the quality of the work you do and how you do it. And they're also the ones that pay your bills, especially if they are external customers. What's at stake for you and your boss is that your boss manages you, and it's your job to make them look really, really good because they're sticking their neck out to hire you. They may also have things that they require from you in order for things to move forward in the work that you do together. So you have to be really good at being self-motivated and also understanding your boss's motivations. With regards to you and your colleagues, these are the people who will be working with you every day. Are you somebody that they want to work with, that they're going to collaborate with, and so forth? And are they somebody that's going to say good things about you? And are you going to be able to work with them and accomplish your career goals? What's at stake for the company that you're working at? They may be in a great financial situation. They may be growing. They may be going into an IPO, or they may be a public company, and you have to understand where their earnings are on a regular basis. Or they may be a company that is in decline, or there may be a company that's middling, and you're being brought in to help grow the company. And so, what's at stake for them? And then finally, are you in an industry that is growing or in decline or trying to figure itself out, or a completely new industry where you're just creating something out of nowhere? And so where do you fit in with that, and how do you handle what's going forward? Brian asks, how do you recommend learning new skills like AI? Do you mean learning how to create and program AI, or how to utilize AI powered tools? I'm saying learn how to utilize AI powered tools. So learning how you can be more efficient with ChatGPT and other technologies. So the types of interview questions that you are going to encounter in an interview matter as well. There are fact-based questions, situational, hypothetical, and also questions that you have for us. And so each of these questions fits back into what's at stake. And so you have to understand how each of these fit in. And you can plug these into an AI tool like a ChatGPT or a Gemini, and you can go ahead and see what kind of questions spit out based on your resume, based on your LinkedIn, and then learn how to answer those questions in every single situation. Yep. Step number 7 is to turn job hunting into a habit. So, a lot of you, in my experience, like to start and apply for 10 jobs one day and then do nothing the next 3 days and then come back the fourth day and apply for another 10 jobs and then complain on day 5 that you can't find a job. And the truth of the matter is that you have to be doing something related to your career every single day when you're looking for a job, whether that is speaking to recruiters, being in webinars like this and networking with other people, or building your personal brand, or building your skills for what lies ahead. It's important to have your schedule figured out as you go on a day-to-day basis so that you can fill it and fill it with abundance, because it is easy in a job market where sometimes the leads can be very tough to come by, to look into the abyss that is the job search and realize that you might not land. And I know I've been there before, and it's not great. Because I've peered over there just to like sneakily look, and it definitely doesn't feel good because it feels like you're going to fall into a deep, deep hole. Step number 8 is to help others. And a lot of you are doing that just now in this webinar chat. You are typing into the webinar chat, you're networking with each other, you're getting to know each other. And, a lot of this one comes from the fact that it's a tough job market out there. But even in a good market, it can be tough too, depending on your industry. And so not only should you be networking, but you can also offer other people your expertise, share listings that don't work for you, and then boost each other's LinkedIn posts for greater reach. Let's all find ways to go viral and be meaningful to each other. And then step 9, it's understanding that it's hard. It's, a tough economy. I open the news every day hoping that it'll get better, and it's not necessarily going in that direction. And so if you feel like that you need to take a break, and to go to the beach, go do that, then come back. But I think the major thing here is to know that at some point here, things will probably improve. And it'll depend on where everything goes, especially with AI. But what you do to learn about that right now is what matters. And speaking of AI, step number 10 is to borrow AI for help. Free tools like Claude and ChatGPT can support your efforts. It's important to revise after the fact. And it's important to also use AI as an act as if. Tell AI to act as if they are somebody so that they can be supportive in whatever it is that you are looking for as you search for what it is that you're looking for next. And here are a couple of tools. I'm going to have this all in the video presentation when it's available. So scroll into it, probably into the 35-minute mark, so you can find these resources. These are for cover letters and mission statements. LazyApply.com and TLHQ are for automating your job search or using your job search as a CRM. Interviewing, you can use Star Method Coach, Google Interview Warmup, ChatGPT, um, and so forth. And I guess I just have it again here. Become well versed in AI, right? So not only use AI as a tool and rely on it, but also learn how you can use AI to become more efficient in your job, whether it's learning to prompt AI to write a blog post, create graphics, create systems, and so forth. I do see we have a few questions here. I think 7 meaningful job applications is my max from 9 to 4 p.m. Yeah, seven a day is really good. That's one job application an hour. Yeah, let me go ahead and go to the previous slide here. For us younger professionals without much market experience, is there a fuzzy metric for how long these bad markets typically last? Yeah, that's a tough one. So if you think about the Great Recession, this one started, I think, in late 2007. It ran into 2008. And by about mid 2009, it had technically ended, even though the job market didn't fully recover probably until 2011. And so it takes a lot of work. If you got to take a contract, take a contract. You have to be really flexible along the way. The 2020 job market was a lot different because the pandemic soured things for a couple of months. And then as we got into the later parts of the year with low interest rates and so forth, job hiring really started to boom and it peaked in about 2021. So that was a really, really big moment for everybody. So yeah. And yes, you can get the slides to the AI section. Yeah. Yeah. And then what do you do once you have been hired? So once you have been hired, realize that a job is not a new beginning. It is a new beginning, but it's not the time to rest. You have to keep going. Keep networking, keep coming to webinars that are like this. We do have webinars that also touch on side hustles, that also touch on learning AI. So having those skills is incredibly important. It's time to show the hiring manager that you can perform too, because what it is that you have here is you want to be able to keep your job and get a reference at the end of the day. And so a new job means new goals. Understand where it is that you're coming from. Uh, do your best to earn those increased duties, develop your leadership skills, build those AI skills again for the fifth time, and grow your communication skills. Um, is it really a thing when the ATS is still a big thing. In fact, it's probably even more now because ATS systems now infuse AI within what they have going on. So I would say that ATSs are important. And not only that, you also now have to deal um, with robots or AI interviewing you for the first couple of rounds after the ATS system too. Yeah, and we do have side hustle webinars coming up. They are on our Eventbrite page, and I encourage you to come check them out. Other things to keep in mind, job is rarely forever, so keep networking and building your brand. As you register your accomplishments, write them down for your resume, and then stay in touch with old recruiters and those that you work with. And so we're now here at the final piece. I think this is probably the most important part because, I've given you tips. Maybe a lot of these tips you've already heard to some capacity. And so the next thing I want to talk about is how you can actually take action. If you're wondering how to take action, this is probably going to be the most favorite part of your entire presentation. And so this is a mixture of programs that we have coming up as well as free webinars that you'll want to take part in. And so the first one that we want to talk about is our upcoming 6-week job search bootcamp. If you've been a part of Albert's List for a while, you know that our signature event is our multi-week job search bootcamp that brings in cohorts of anywhere between 10 to 30. And what we do is we help you find the resources, strategies, and tactics that you need to land your next job in a group environment where you have accountability, inspiration, and also office hours where you can learn how to do a lot of the things that we do through AI and also in a community that is supportive. And so we have our preview webinars coming up on June 2nd and June 9th. And we have more than 40 signups so far. So point your QR code to that event so that you can sign up. I'll have this in the deck later too, when I upload it, so you can have a chance to take a look at it as well. Um, if you're not interested in a job search bootcamp and you want to DIY this work for yourself, we have the Job Seeker Survival Kit. The Job Seeker Survival Kit is 55 hours worth of content valued at $2,000 that we offer you for $27. And what is this? It's 49 videos across finding your next job, discovering what you want, what to do once you get hired, and how to use AI in your job search, and about 18 different mock interviews across marketing, software engineering, product management, and more. And you can pair it up with an office hours program that we have that happens 26 times a year for just $20. In office hours, you can ask me any question that you want, get a mock interview if you're the only person there, or have a group answer your questions and get the support that you need to sign up. And so we'll also share this as well in the deck. You can sign up for a mock interview with Albert's List. So we offer two types of mock interviews, one that's a technical interview with a senior software engineer, and another one with a Fortune 500 recruiter that is non-technical. We've done 124 of these since the pandemic, and they are always good to get practice so that you can go into the job interview knowing that you're prepared. You can email your resume to me at albert@ajobslist.com, and I will get you on the calendar, likely at this point now for June. We were talking a little bit about picking up AI skills. So we have webinars on May 19th, the 21st, and June 18th. And so you can learn AI skills, including how to prompt a website using tools like Replit, discover how you can save 10 hours a week at work, or build a consulting side hustle, and apply these skills from your own industry and knowledge into AI. This QR code takes you to the overall Eventbrite page where we have all of our events. So take a look for these things here. I mentioned this earlier. We have how to use ChatGPT to ace your job interview. This is happening on May 29th in conjunction with C6, which is a local job search organization. And what I'm going to be doing in this webinar is showing you how you can use ChatGPT as an interview partner with existing content, such as your resume and a job description. And you can improve your interviewing, but we also say to practice your interviewing with a live person. We already have 100 RSVPs for this one. There is more room available, and you will meet not only Albert's listers, but other members of the community as well in the Bay Area. And so use the QR code here to sign up and visit us there at that event. And this event, I believe, is 10:30 a.m. to noon on Tuesday or Thursday, May 29th. So it's a really great opportunity to get that AI training in there. If you're interested in just the overall state of the job market and you're not looking to be sold anything, we also have a very informational webinar that we do monthly with Dr. Riley White, who is a finance professor at the University of New Mexico. You can from there learn about the trends that are moving the market, and ask your own questions. Um, Investment advice, although it's not really advice, it's more so the movement of the market and recession fears, as well as any other trends that matter at the moment. And so currently we have 50 signups for this webinar so far, and we encourage you to join for that as well. Is there a group on LinkedIn I can join, or is it only Facebook? Right now we have Facebook, we have Discord, which is not as active, and we have a mostly inactive LinkedIn group. If you don't have Facebook, I encourage you to stay in touch via the webinars that we hold. So RSVPing to any of our webinars on Eventbrite will also connect you with the community on a regular basis as well. So with that said, I encourage you to stay in touch. This is all the different avenues that we can take. Um, if you want to join the Facebook group, the QR code at the very top will take you there. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, the QR code in the middle will take you to that. And then if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have many of our videos, you can subscribe to that as well. The Discord group, I need to go find the link. I don't have that here yet. Um, yeah, and then the Facebook group link is here at the top. AI skills webinar, if you go back to here and you go to this QR code, it will take you to the overall Eventbrite page where you can find everything that you need. Cool. Okay. And I'll share this deck and I'll share this video so that all of you can access it. Okay, so with all that said, I have come to the end of the webinar. I'm here to take any questions and answers from you. I hope that this webinar was helpful for you today as we navigate this complicated, sometimes disheartening, and very challenging job market. A portion of the QR code got cut off. Oh, I hate to hear that. Okay, all right. Um, yeah. What is the preferred job search engine? What do you mean by that? I usually like searching on LinkedIn, but I also recommend searching where jobs that you are looking for are going to be easily found. Okay, many of the QR codes were cut off. Okay, all right. Um, okay, well, let's see. I'm gonna unshare my screen here and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to our Eventbrite page and I'm going to drop those links in from here for you guys so you can see what's going on here. Hopefully this will be a little bit easier and you don't have to look at my face either. Okay, so let's open the chat here. Okay, so here are some of the events that we have coming up. This is the event going on right now. If you're looking for the ChatGPT event, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste it here. Uh, if you are like to come to our events in general, I'm just going to go ahead and put that here. And if you're looking to join us for our preview to the next job search bootcamp, you can join us there. So lots of different opportunities coming up here, and so forth. Yep. Awesome. Connected on LinkedIn. Looking forward to seeing you, and so forth. All right. For me, networking is getting hard. Sending a message to on LinkedIn to people, how do you make it really effective? So, one way you can do it is you can ask ChatGPT to help you. Another way you can do it is to go through ways of knowing people, finding people that you already know with commonalities. So, people whom you went to school with, people who you worked in previous companies for, mutual friends, mutual communities. We also have an event coming up that focuses on networking. So Mark Sackett, who is an entrepreneur, founder of the Box SF and Reflector, and also the Art of Active Networking, will be here to talk to us about how to become an effective networker. And so I encourage you to sign up for that webinar as well. And if you're in the Bay Area, there's also an opportunity to join him for the Art of Active Networking on June 2nd, 2025, at his office, or rather at his venue in San Francisco. And he's always interested in helping other people become better networkers. So I encourage you to join that event as well. If you're looking to join our Facebook group, I'm going to go ahead and copy our Facebook group into this as well. And I'll show you a little bit about this Facebook group. We have 50,500 members. This webinar is currently live in there, but we also have events that we post, people who introduce themselves, people giving advice, and then we also post job listings in here too. So there's a lot of different opportunities. I encourage you to engage in as many of them as you can, and I look forward to having you in this community. All right, wonderful. Any other questions, any other thoughts? We have a little bit of time left here. All right, well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I can see that many of you are starting to RSVP for today's events. I want to thank you so much for your time. I know that your time is valuable, so that any chance that you have to be here, I am always appreciative because you are taking time out of your day from doing something else. I wish you all the best of luck in your job search, and I look forward to seeing you in our upcoming events and seeing you soon. Have a wonderful day, night, evening, wherever you are, and thank you so much. See you later. Bye.